I never thought my own cousin could hurt me like that. Every word he said painted me as a liar and a thief. Family gatherings became unbearable, people whispered behind my back, and I felt completely alone. I tried to defend myself, but no one would listen. Evidence he claimed to have was convincing, and I was left powerless. If you have ever been falsely accused by someone close, comment where you are watching from. I want to hear your story. This channel brings you real tales of betrayal and justice stories where the underestimated rise and the deceivers get exposed. Every story shows how patience and persistence can reveal the truth. My name is David, and this is my story. It starts with humiliation but will end with a revelation that nobody saw coming. It all began on a busy Friday afternoon. I was accused of stealing something valuable from the family business. The room was filled with shocked faces. My cousin smiled smugly, and the whispers began. Stay with me as this story unfolds. You will see how a hidden truth can turn the tables completely, and how betrayal can sometimes lead to the most satisfying justice. That Friday afternoon felt like the longest day of my life. Everyone stared at me as if I had committed the worst crime imaginable. My cousin stood at the center of it all, smiling like he had won some cruel game. I tried to explain myself, but no one wanted to hear it. Even my closest relatives looked doubtful. I felt the sting of betrayal like never before. After everyone left, I stayed behind in the office, going through the files and boxes I had been managing for years. I couldn't understand how he had convinced everyone so easily. And then I saw a small camera hidden in the corner of the storage room. My heart raced. I remembered installing it months ago for security. I had completely forgotten about it. Could it have recorded what really happened? I checked the footage on my computer, and my eyes widened. There he was, my cousin taking the very thing he had accused me of stealing. Every move caught on camera, clear and undeniable. I felt a surge of hope. For the first time since the accusation, I could breathe. This footage was my lifeline, my proof, my way to reclaim my reputation. But I had to be careful. I couldn't reveal it too soon. I had to plan how to show the truth without causing more drama. Every word and step had to be precise. This was about more than just clearing my name. It was about exposing the betrayal for what it truly was. If you have ever been falsely accused or blamed for something you didn't do, comment below your story or tell me where you are watching from, because sometimes the truth is hidden in the most unexpected place. The journey is just beginning. The hidden camera was about to change everything, and my cousin had no idea that the game had just shifted. The next few days were tense. I acted normal around my cousin, smiling, nodding, pretending everything was fine. But inside I was planning every detail carefully. I needed to reveal the truth in a way that nobody could ignore. I started by gathering the key family members, those who had been most convinced by his lies. I told them I had discovered something important. Their curiosity was piqued. Some still looked skeptical, but I could feel the shift starting. When the day came, I played the footage. Everyone watched in silence. The evidence was undeniable. There was my cousin taking the items and trying to make it look like I had done it. The room filled with gasps and murmurs. He froze, realizing that his game was over. I felt a mix of relief and satisfaction. Every whisper, every doubt that had followed me vanished instantly. My reputation, my integrity, my honesty, all were restored in one powerful moment. My cousin tried to speak, but no one listened. His smug smile was gone. He had underestimated me and the power of proof. I realized that patience and preparation had been my greatest allies. After the confrontation, I explained calmly how I had found the footage and how I had verified every detail. Everyone saw the lengths I had gone to clear my name, and the betrayal my cousin had committed was finally exposed. I also made it clear that this was not about revenge. It was about truth. I wanted everyone to understand that honesty and diligence matter and that lies, no matter how convincing, will eventually be revealed. If you have ever been betrayed by someone close, comment your story or where you are watching from, because sometimes the quietest actions and the smallest details can turn the entire situation around. The journey was far from over. The family now knew the truth, but the real challenge would be restoring trust and balance in the household and showing that deception has consequences. By the time a week had passed since the footage was revealed, the atmosphere in the family had completely changed. What once felt like unbearable tension now carried a strange mix of relief and awkwardness. My cousin avoided eye contact with everyone. The smugness and confidence he had relied on for years were gone, and I could finally breathe again. I spent that week rebuilding relationships, explaining calmly to each family member what had happened. Some were apologetic, others just shook their heads in disbelief, but all of them recognized the truth, and most importantly, my integrity had been fully restored. I also took time to reflect. How had someone so close betrayed me so completely? And yet I realized that it was not just about him. It was about patience, observation, and not giving up even when the odds seemed impossible. The hidden camera had been a silent guardian, waiting for the right moment to reveal the truth. Once the initial shock faded, I started thinking about the future. I had learned that trust can be fragile, and sometimes even family members can be be deceptive, but I also learned that patience, careful planning, and keeping a level head can overcome even the deepest betrayal. I started planning for ways to protect myself and my reputation moving forward, ensuring that no one could ever attempt such a lie again. My cousin eventually tried to apologize, but it was awkward and insincere. I listened quietly, not because I wanted revenge, but because I knew that the truth had already spoken louder than any words could. He had lost credibility, he had lost trust, and now he had to rebuild his own life under the weight of his actions. During this time, I also strengthened my own position in the family business. Clients respected my professionalism, employees respected my honesty and diligence, and slowly the company began to thrive under my direction. Every decision I made was guided by integrity and experience, and the shadow of false accusations no longer haunted me. One evening, I sat alone in the office reflecting. I thought about all the times I had felt helpless, how my cousin had manipulated situations to make me look guilty, how family members had doubted me, and how I had persevered quietly. The footage had been a turning point, a reminder that patience, observation, and preparation can overcome even the harshest betrayals. If you have ever been falsely accused or doubted by someone you trusted, comment your story or tell me where you are watching from, because sometimes the truth is hidden in plain sight, and those who believe in patience and diligence will eventually prevail. By the end of the week, I had reclaimed my confidence and my place. The family dynamics shifted. People treated me differently, with respect, recognition, and a new understanding. My cousin was still part of the family, but he knew that deception has consequences, and the experience had strengthened me in ways I could never have imagined. This was more than just exposing a liar. It was about patience, strategy, and reclaiming what was rightfully mine. David had endured humiliation and betrayal, but by trusting his instincts and staying vigilant, he had turned the tables completely and proved that even the deepest lies cannot withstand the power of truth. The days following the revelation of the footage were tense but charged with a new energy. My cousin still avoided me, but tried to maintain a facade of normalcy. Every interaction carried unspoken words and awkward glances. The family was adjusting to the truth, and the power dynamics were shifting. I focused on strengthening my position, ensuring that the company and family trust were secure. Every decision I made demonstrated competence and integrity. Clients began reaching out personally to praise my management. Employees felt empowered and motivated, and slowly the household started to recognize the authority I had earned. One afternoon, my cousin confronted me, his voice low and nervous. He tried to justify his actions. He spoke of jealousy, opportunity, and misunderstanding. Listened quietly, knowing that the truth had already spoken louder than any excuse he could offer. I reminded him calmly that deception has consequences and that the trust he had broken would not be restored easily. Realized fully that his attempts at manipulation had failed. The humiliation he had caused me had not gone unnoticed, and now he was facing the natural consequences of his choices. Also took the opportunity to set boundaries, explaining clearly how I expected honesty and integrity to guide all future interactions. The family witnessed this exchange, and respect for me grew even stronger. My cousin's words were powerless. My actions had spoken volumes. Over the next few weeks, I implemented new measures in both the family business and personal interactions. Trust was rebuilt slowly but firmly, and my cousin had no choice but to comply. Every attempt to manipulate or deceive was now met with scrutiny and accountability. He had underestimated me completely. Then came the day when I presented a new business initiative, a plan I had developed in secret. During the tension-filled weeks, it was ambitious, well-researched, and had the potential to expand the company significantly. Family members and key employees gathered. Everyone was impressed, and my cousin had to admit silently that I was capable and strategic. I realized that my journey was about more than proving him wrong. It was about embracing my own strength, about showing that patience, intelligence, and resilience could overcome betrayal. Every insult, every doubt, every accusation had prepared me for this moment. If you have ever faced betrayal or false accusations, comment below your story or where you are watching from, because sometimes the people who try to bring you down cannot withstand the strength of truth and preparation. By the end of this chapter, the balance had completely shifted. Cousin had learned humility. The family recognized my integrity, and I had secured my reputation, my company, and my peace of mind. David had turned betrayal into triumph and proved that no lie can survive careful observation and persistence. This was more than a story of exposing deceit. It was about reclaiming life, respect, and authority, and the ultimate lesson is clear patience, strategy, and unwavering integrity will always outlast betrayal. The final confrontation came quietly. My cousin approached me one morning. His face was sober, his words measured. He no longer carried the arrogance he had once used to manipulate everyone. It was clear he had learned the weight of his actions. Listened as he apologized sincerely, not just for framing me, but for underestimating me for years. I nodded, not out of triumph, but because the truth had already spoken and the balance had been been restored from that moment on. The family dynamics shifted permanently. I no longer feared whispers or accusations. My reputation was solid, my integrity unquestioned, and my cousin had to acknowledge my strength. I focused on moving forward, implementing new plans for the company, strengthening relationships with employees and clients, and establishing systems to prevent any future deception. Every step I took reinforced my authority and confidence. One evening, I reflected on the journey, the humiliation, the false accusations, the betrayal. Each moment had tested me, and each had made me stronger. I realized that the real victory was not exposing my cousin, it was reclaiming my life and proving my resilience. I also reached out to extended family, explaining what had happened, sharing the lessons learned, and showing that honesty, patience, and diligence can overcome even the deepest betrayals. The respect I received was genuine, and the family finally saw me as capable, determined, and unwavering. If you have ever been falsely accused, betrayed, or underestimated, comment below where you are watching from, or share your story, because sometimes the people who doubt you the most are blind to your strength, and the truth will always come out if you stay vigilant and patient. Subscribe to this channel for more stories of family betrayal, cunning plans, and ultimate justice. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a story where resilience turns humiliation into triumph, and stay tuned for the next story that will shock, inspire, and prove that patience and strategy always pay off. David had faced the deepest betrayal a family member could inflict, and he had emerged victorious, his reputation restored, his cousin humbled, and his life and career stronger than ever. This is a story about patience, courage, and the undeniable power of truth. Sometimes the person who seems weakest is the one who holds the greatest strength.